What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I'm back to talk about Warhammer 40k. So it's been a while since I've made a video that's not a For the Greater War one, so it feels good and strange to be talking to you guys again. But anyway, we're here to talk about Warhammer 40k, and there has been quite a lot that has come out in the most recent of days, ever since the new year actually, that revolves around 40k. The first thing was that they released some pretty interesting looking models for Slaanesh, for Age of Sigmar. Once again, GW says no Slaaneshi models, no Slaaneshi anything for Warhammer 40k. It's always Age of Sigmar, and it's always portraying like perfection when it comes to those models, never the sex and pleasure aspect of it. Well, I guess a little bit of pleasure. But anyway, here's the model, and in my opinion, it looks pretty cool. But again, I'm just wondering, why doesn't GW bring Slaaneshi stuff to 40k? Are they waiting to unleash the epicness in like an all-out campaign or something? I honestly don't know. But the last 2 or 3 times that anything Slaanesh related has been released, it's always been for Age of Sigmar. Maybe we'll just have to wait and see, but still, if you guys want to snatch those models and convert them to something relating to 40k, be my guest. And then we come to their 2020 Miniatures of the Year. I did one of these in my 40k in 2020 review, and if you guys want to check that out, I'll link it at the end of the video. And also, let's see what you guys voted to be the best minis in all of 2020. So coming in third place is one that I also had on my listing, and that is the Sisters of Battle, the sculpt for Saint Catherine. So this is more than just an amazing sculpt. It is glorious looking. It is beauty made manifest. So Saint Catherine is actually dead. She's in the casket, and this is a procession for her. So the saint is dead, and all around her are Sisters of Battle, and you got cherubs, and there's a lot going on here. So you can dissect it all you will, but it is an amazing piece of art, and there's a lot of religious iconography, and overall it just looks really amazing. Like, it is easily a centerpiece for the Sisters of Battle army. And of course, if you guys want to look at this article, I will have all of it down in the description below. Continuing on to their second best miniature of the year is none other than the Katan Shard of the Void Dragon, one that I too had as one of my best sculpts of the year. When you look at this model, it's head over heels, like next level. The effects of the Necrodermis are amazing. The scale of the model is pretty massive, and you have all the it's not warp lightning. You have all the star god energy and pieces of like obelisk all around. This is like next level stuff, really. Like when you look at it, you're blown away by it. A really well paint job will just make this model flourish. But even if you don't paint it as good, just by looking at the details and the intricacies, this is easily one of the best works that GW has ever done. And that's why it became number 2 in the best model of 2020. And then we come to number 1. So the one that everybody voted for number 1 is my also choice for number 1, and it is none other than the Prophet of the Wall, Gaskell Mag Uruk Thraka. So the orcs have done it again. They have come out on top with the most badass looking model ever. When you look at this dude, you know he comes for blood. He comes to slay. This is a hulking monstrosity of an orc. There's actually barely any orc in this model. It's all just cyborg body, guns upon guns, a huge power claw, and you have Gaskell's tiny little head somewhere in the middle of all of it. So it's just an awesome sculpt. It screams. And on the topic of orcs, there is also another orc model that has been available in Warhammer stores all around the world. If it's open, that is, because of course COVID is mutating into a different thing. Thanks, Nurgle. And if not, you can order this little guy here. It is an old school orc and his little Gretchen pal, and it's supposed to be symbolic of a piece of art that used to be in a white dwarf, or maybe it was the Orc Codex. Either way, they saw a piece of art that was really badass, and they made it into a model. So that's pretty cool. Maybe just keep it as like a little memorabilia of your days playing 40k. So that was another thing that came out. And the last thing that I want to touch base on, and probably the most important thing, is that Warhammer 40k has unleashed their next FAQ updates for a ton of units. During the 2020 year, there was not a lot going on in terms of like tournaments and 40k play, especially... Hello? Hello? Oh, 40k has new FAQs out? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Let's take a look. So yeah, that was really bad. Sorry for that. I don't even think that's a joke. Sorry for that cringe, guys. But anyway, yes, there is a full amount of 40k FAQs compiling rules on the rulebook, expansion, codices, adjusted points cost. There is a ton of stuff to dissect in this. And I was going to make it another video, but we're already here, so let's just keep talking about it. Yeah, again guys, I apologize for that cringe. But anyway, let's dive into what they have to say about this complete overhaul of 40k 9th edition as we know it. So basically, they go on to say that there have been a ton of FAQs, adjusted point costs, and even they're changing up the amount of points that you get for certain secondaries and primary objectives, which is amazing because, well, it's good and bad. One, I don't know exactly why they're deciding to do this, since in 2020 COVID happened and there weren't a lot of tournaments going on, there weren't a lot of games being played in GWs or games of 40k being played, period. So they took what little data they had and they said, look, we're seeing some major things, so let's adjust it. Now, if you didn't even get a chance to play 40k, well, you're gonna have to adjust yourself, because we have point adjustments for a lot of units. They're saying adjusted point costs covering every model in every faction. That's insane. What does this mean for you Blood Angel players who literally just bought the Codex? You're gonna have to FAQ it. The point costs in there are off. That's crazy. Anyway, they said that they got FAQs for 40k rulebooks, codices, and expansions. Again, it's crazy to think that some people just got their codices and they've already got rules to look into and adjust point cost values and whatnot. That's why I want them to do better for their app. The Warhammer 40k app isn't that great right now. Of course it's in the early stages, but still they're charging you a $5 subscription to use it, especially during COVID. So hopefully that becomes cheaper, hopefully that becomes better, and hopefully all these FAQs aren't going to be that much of a hassle now that we have everything on the app. Yes, you still have to buy the Codex and download it into the app, but again, it's a topic that I've talked about before and a topic that I can get into later. Today, let's keep on going to see what else they have to say about the FAQs. So they're saying that the 40k rules team have taken feedback from every army in the game and that they've addressed the most pressing concerns. They said that these updates also include, like I was talking about earlier, the Blood Angel Codex supplement, which was the last book to launch in 2020. However, you won't find too many big surprises here, but you will find some that added clarity to help your games run smoothly. It's okay, sounds good so far. When it comes to points, you'll be able to download a comprehensive updated point list covering all the current units in the 40k rules as of right now. Some outperforming units, such as the Space Marine Outriders and the Katan Shard of the Nightbringer, have gone up in points. That hurts. I wanted to use the Outriders when they were overpowered. I wanted to use the Nightbringer when it was overpowered, but it's a little bit more expensive to use these two units, but that's good because it's balancing out the game. But anyway, they said that other units, such as the Canoptic Reanimator, have a drop in points to make them a more appealing option. So basically what they're saying is, this new Canoptic Reanimator did not see the light of many games, or it didn't sell so well, so let's drop it in points and hopefully it'll sell. Another thing that they said is there's going to be another document regarding 40k power level listings. So if you don't play with points and power level is more your thing, this is what you need to download. This is important if you play Crusades because points don't matter in Crusades, it's all power level. So depending on what type of game you play, just download them both, you'll have all the information there. And it says that all these values will be updated in the app in the coming days. So if you guys have the app, if you guys are actually partaking in the GW giveaway, you could actually win an army, and you got the app, well, just download it and you'll have all the information there. Regarding turns and objectives and whatnot, it says that there's a huge change that applies to match play games. The first turn and scoring in the chapter approved Grand Tournament 2020 mission pack is changing. There's going to be less disadvantages to going second, and some of these are going to help you take the brunt of whoever's going first. Because usually if an army is super competitive and that army gets to go first, the amount of firepower they can throw down and the amount of carnage and destruction that they can rot is severe enough that it'll definitely cripple the chances of player 2. So if you're going second and you're going against a strong army, you pretty much lost the game at that point, because your army is going to be whittled down to a fraction of its starting force that they can't bring back the pain, they can't take the objectives because of all the models that have died. So they're saying that the first turn now always goes to the player who wins the roll-off, which is interesting. I don't know exactly how well that's going to affect things. Obviously, if you go first and you let your opponent go first, I don't know, it's we'll have to wait and see. The other thing too is that they're talking about primary objectives that have been scoring in the final round of battle has changed so that it's the player going second now scores at the end of their turn instead of at the start. This was changed for a lot of reasons. Basically, again, the whole first turn advantage thing, and then secondly, it's important to keep the game interesting and worthwhile for both players in the final turn. Games can be decided on the last dice roll in some of the final combats for that ultimate objective. So if you saw that you're losing at the top of turn 5, why even play bottom of turn 5th is basically what they're saying. Secondary objectives, and the one that I'm very excited about that are going to be seeing a little bit of changes, are Bring It Down. It drops in victory points, so now people won't be scared to bring in vehicles and monsters because those were always the targets. Trust me, those were always the targets, because whenever we played our Crusade games, we would always choose Bring It Down, because taking down vehicles, taking down monstrous creatures gave you guys, I think it was like 2 victory points or something like that, and that was always overpowered. Forget the infantry, forget characters, I'm taking down your vehicles. So seeing that go down in points will probably make things a little bit more interested, because now this won't be like an auto-include against like Iron Warriors or like a Speed Freak army. The other thing that's changing is the Abhor the Witch objective. So if you were playing Thousand Suns, if you were playing Grey Knights, this was an auto-include, because obviously every time you killed a unit, there were probably Psychers, and that means that unit dies, which is already good for the opponent. And not just that, but it also gives them extra victory points, which is even better for the opponent. So it was definitely a 2-for-1 blow if you were playing like psychic armies and stuff like that. So interesting stuff that I definitely want to see implemented, because of course I was scared to play Grey Knights in my Crusade for this reason alone, because I'm always at a disadvantage with elite armies such as Grey Knights, and then you're even more at a disadvantage because of this secondary. So, and now I don't have to worry so much about taking first turn or I'm pretty much dead, because again, that first punch that the enemy deals to you is enough to definitely hinder elite armies, because then your model count is down, your synergy is down, and overall you're playing an uphill battle that's so difficult to win. I can't speak today. But anyway, that's all I got. Let me know what you think about all these changes. Let me know what you think about all the models that came out in 2020 and all the models that have been released so far in the beginning of the year. And stay safe, guys. Be nice to one another. And I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicates, and I'll catch you then. Peace.